This page is the front cover of Nintendo Official Magazine, showcasing the Nintendo 64 and the upcoming Game Boy Advance. It features a vibrant image of Mario and a purple Game Boy Advance, with the headline, GBA Special, and a promise of 22 power-packed pages of red-hot GB Advance news. The cover also highlights Paper Mario on N64 and Gold and Silver Pokémon, teasing some of the exciting content within. It's a classic Nintendo cover, full of anticipation for new hardware and beloved franchises. This page is a rather interesting one, pitting Natasha of Atomic Kitten fame against Tim Henman, the tennis ace. It's a bit of a celebrity showdown, asking us to consider who we'd rather have on our team in various hypothetical situations, from losing a game gracefully to dealing with bullies. It's all in aid of promoting Fruit Shoot, a refreshing drink from Robinson's. The ad certainly makes a bold statement with new thinking, new drinking. This page is the front cover, and it's a cracker. It proudly declares Nintendo's dominance with the headline, "Here's why we've always been the UK's biggest selling Nintendo 64 and Nintendo Mag." We've got the Team Nintendo looking chuffed with themselves, promising us 6 promises of gaming goodness, like getting the scoop on new N64 and Game Boy games first, the best screenshots, and tips and cheats that actually work. There's a GBA special spotlighting some hot releases, and the magazine itself, issue 105, from June 2001, is going for a bargain £2.99. It's all very exciting stuff for any self-respecting gamer. This page is a triumphant declaration of Nintendo's gaming prowess, fronted by a beaming Mario and the purple Game Boy Advance. We're treated to the exciting news that the Game Boy Advance is nearly here, and that this issue has all the essential details, including a first look and everything you need to know. Plus, they're showing you the best new games, awesome accessories, and how to win a GB Advance. Over on the right, it's a whirlwind of game news, with mentions of Army Men Advance, Castlevania, Circle of the Moon, Earthworm Jim, GT Advance, Iridium 3D, Kuru Kuru Kururin, Konami Crazy Racers, Lego Bionicle, Mario Kart Advance, Pinobi, Pitfall, Mayan Adventure, Ready 2 Rumble Round 2, Super Mario Advance, Tony Hawk's 2, and Fessor Eve Zero, Maximum Velocity. The page also gives us a peek at Paper Mario for the N64, promising a brilliant RPG experience, and showcases some speedy racing action on the Game Boy Advance. It's a packed page, brimming with anticipation for what's to come. This page is a fantastic look at what's hot in the world of gaming. We've got a review of Excitebike 64, which sounds like it's absolutely brilliant, along with a sneak peek at Aiden Chronicles, The First Mage, another N64 RPG that promises heaps of action. Then there's the Blagfest, where you can win some cool Game Boy goodies, and under Game Guides we get tips for Pokemon Gold and Silver, and hints for Battle Naboo, and the N64's official tips and scores. Finally, it caps off with a mention of the awesome collection for the N64, all the best games and accessories reviewed, and the promise of a free Game Boy magazine. Sounds like a proper gamer's delight. This page is a brilliant showcase for Paper Mario on the Nintendo 64, and what a game it looks to be. The title itself, Paper Mario, is a stroke of genius, and the tagline, "The world's favorite plumber is back, twirling his mustache and stomping on all the baddies in a fantastic RPG romp," perfectly captures the fun and excitement. We get a glimpse into the game's plot. Peach invites Mario over, but then Bowser swoops in and kidnaps her, naturally. The screenshots give us a taste of the gameplay, with Mario in action and a rather charming collection of star spirits. It's described as an RPG adventure, which is a fantastic direction for the Mario series. It's clear this is going to be a massive hit for the Nintendo 64, a must-play for any fan of platforming or role-playing games. The game info section confirms it's an RPG adventure, released in September. It's all set to be a proper adventure in the Mushroom Kingdom. This page is a full-page advert for Paper Mario, showcasing the game's colorful, paper-cutout art style. It features Mario, Princess Peach, and Koopa Paratrooper, all looking ready for adventure. This page dives into the charming world of Paper Mario, highlighting its unique papercraft aesthetic. We see Mario exploring Goomba Village and resting at the Toad House, illustrating the game's RPG elements and town exploration. The review touches on the game's story, introducing key characters like Koopa Paratrooper and Bombette, who joins Mario's party to help him overcome challenges. It's clear from the screenshots that the Mushroom Kingdom has never looked so flatly fantastic. This page is a full-page advert for Oxydots, It features a cartoon of a young woman and a rather keen-looking chap presenting a box of the pimple patches. The slogan reads, "If first impressions last, then it helps to make a good one. Don't ruin your chances." Simple, yet effective. This page dives into the world of Paper Mario, specifically focusing on the game's adversaries and helpful items. We get a rundown of the big baddies, like Tutanka and Tubba, with some rather menacing dialogue to boot. The reviewer seems to appreciate the charm of these villains, even if they are a bit kooky. On the other side, we're treated to goodies galore, showcasing useful items such as the Sleepy Sheep, the Pow Block, and the Fright Jar, all designed to aid Mario on his quest. The page also explains the importance of star points for leveling up Mario, and how they contribute to his heart, flower, and badge points, which is crucial for getting stronger. It's all about managing your stats and using the right tools to overcome Bowser's forces. This page delves into the combat mechanics of Paper Mario, offering insights into battle stations and barking orders. It highlights how Mario and his allies engage in turn-based battles, with various attack options and the ability to switch party members. The game's action commands are presented as a way to add skill to the proceedings, with specific examples like using the hammer and boot. The Laugh It Up section praises the game's humor, with screenshots of witty dialogue and comical situations, including Peach's diary entries and the quirky interactions in the Mushroom Kingdom. It touches upon the visual gags and hidden secrets that contribute to the game's overall charm. The page also touches upon the fact that all of Mario's friends can be called to battle, though only one can fight at a time. Additionally, it mentions the advantage of striking enemies early when traveling around. This page dives into the world of Paper Mario, specifically focusing on the Seeing Stars and Down in the Deep sections. We learn about the 7 star spirits that Bowser has hidden, each granting Mario new abilities when rescued after defeating a boss. The page showcases some of these spirits, like Eldstar, the wisest, who can refresh heart points, and Mama, the motherly spirit, whose lullaby ability can put enemies to sleep. It also mentions Merlo, who offers a tasty badge. On the other side, we get a glimpse into the dungeons and castles that Paper Mario isn't shy about. The Koopa Bros Fortress is highlighted as a place full of classic Mario puzzles and traps, and the Dry Dungeon is described as a spooky tomb perfect for Indiana Jones. It's clear the reviewer thinks the game offers a good blend of adventure and challenge, with a touch of nostalgia. Finally, the minigames section teases the fun to be had by unlocking extra content during your travels. There are even some in-game conversations shown, hinting at the game's charming dialogue. The page concludes with a We Think section, praising the game's absorbing, magical graphics and its sheer joy, calling it a welcome return for Mario. This page is a vibrant full-page advert for Cardcaptors on Nickelodeon, featuring Sakura and Shaoran. It urges viewers to unleash the legend and join them in battling to save the world every Monday to Thursday at 4 p.m. throughout May, with the website nicktv.co.uk for more info. This page is a fantastic review of Excitebike 64 for the Nintendo 64. It's clear the reviewer is utterly chuffed with this bike sim, calling it pretty good but not exactly great in the scoring table, but then awarding it the Awesome Award because it's an amazing game you must play. They highlight that it's been a while since we've seen a bike sim this good, and it really does deliver on the thrills, making you feel like you're whipping around the track. The review also mentions Aiden Chronicles, the first mage, noting it's a new RPG that's a bid for Link's crown as the ultimate adventurer. The game info section shows it costs a hefty £44.99 and was released on the 8th of June. All in all, it sounds like Excitebike 64 is a must-have for any N64 owner. This page features a review of Excitebike 64 for the Nintendo 64. The reviewer is clearly impressed, stating that the game delivers on thrills and makes you feel like you're really on the track. They particularly highlight how the riders buckle and bounce realistically, with graphics that are super sharp. The review also notes that while it took its time to arrive, Excitebike 64 has what it takes to earn an awesome award. There's also a small screenshot showing a rider sliding across the ground after falling off their bike, with the text explaining this physics. This page dives into the gritty realism and thrilling controls of Excitebike 64. The review is clearly impressed, noting the graphics are just like Wave Race 64, with riders realistically buckling and bouncing. They're particularly keen on the intuitive controls, proclaiming you'll be an instant expert. We also get a peek at some of the challenging tracks, both indoor and outdoor, with the reviewer suggesting the outdoor courses offer more fun with their massive jumps and hidden shortcuts. It sounds like a proper adrenaline rush. This page is a glowing review of Excitebike 64, praising its addictive gameplay and surprisingly deep track editor. The reviewer highlights how you can build your own twisty, fiendishly tough tracks to test your mates, and that the game offers a great multiplayer experience, even beating the computer. They also touch on the sound effects being dead exciting, though the engine noises can get a bit tiresome. The game is lauded for its 2-player and 4-player modes, with the reviewer noting how fast the action is and how much fun it is. They even mention a dedicated stunt track for performing daring aerobatics. The game scores a fantastic 93%, with the reviewer calling it the N64's last great racer. This page features a review for Aiden Chronicles, the First Mage, a traditional RPG for the N64. The reviewer seems a bit underwhelmed, describing the gameplay as distinctly ordinary, despite promises of an engrossing story and evolving characters. They highlight the game's ancient story premise, where you play as Alaron, a young squire whose quest becomes more personal. We get a look at some screenshots showing combat, including a goblin poisoner in action, and Alaron being attacked by evil goblins. The party system is introduced, with mentions of Brenna, a thief with lockpicking skills, and Raider, a powerful magic user who's a bit grumpy. Abacon is also mentioned as strong and brave. The reviewer does concede that Aiden Chronicles offers classic RPG gameplay, but it's not exactly setting the world alight. The calendar graphic is a nice touch though. This page dives into the world of Aiden Chronicles, focusing on the varied creatures you'll encounter, and the turn-based combat. We get a closer look at goblins, hobgoblins, and wolves, with the hobgoblins being particularly nasty beasts that'll require a good bit of leveling before you tackle them. The turn-based combat is explained, noting that characters move in small steps and have limited range, and that pressing a specific button attacks highlighted foes, with swords for close combat and knives for ranged attacks. The inventory system is also highlighted as being very clear and easy to use, which is always a bonus. The review concludes with a rather blunt, "Looks pack, Aiden Chronicles looks drab. Not much here to make your jaw hit the floor," suggesting the visuals aren't exactly pushing the N64 to its limits. This page dives deep into the strategic elements of Aiden Chronicles, focusing on two key areas: stat attack and skills to pay the bills. The reviewer emphasizes that this isn't a game where you can just hack and slash your way through. Meticulous attention to your party stats is crucial for survival, particularly against tougher enemies. Dexterity is highlighted for its importance in battle, making it easier to dodge and maneuver. Strength is also vital for taking down those hard-hitting foes, while willpower is essential for magic users, granting resistance to spells. The skills to pay the bills section delves into character abilities. Healers are noted for their ability to cure party members, and mechanics can disarm traps and create armor and shields. Stealth skills are praised for allowing players to sneak up on enemies, a handy tactic when your health is low. The page also touches on stamina, explaining how activities like lockpicking and potion making drain it, and how higher endurance levels lead to better survivability. Finally, Magic Moments explores the game's spellcasting system, mentioning a wide selection of spells for wizards. It points out that getting spells can be a bit of a grind, but the payoff is worth it, with spells like Casting Weakness and Casting Endurance offering distinct combat advantages. Dispel Necromancy is also mentioned as a useful defensive spell. Overall, the page paints a picture of a game that rewards thoughtful preparation and strategic use of your character's diverse skills. Aiden Chronicles receives a mixed 70% review, likely appealing only to dedicated RPG fans. While the game boasts surprisingly witty dialogue, a rarity for the genre, and a unique day/night combat system, solar versus lunar characters, it's hampered by repetitive battles likened to a tedious Sunday afternoon. Rewards are scarce, often yielding only a single healing potion after prolonged combat. Despite its massive length, potentially taking weeks to complete, the reviewer questions whether players will want to finish it, citing the monotonous gameplay. Sound effects are described as unremarkable, despite some juicy moments. Ultimately, Aiden Chronicles requires significant patience and a healthy dose of revival potion to overcome its flaws. This page is a veritable smorgasbord of Game Boy Color goodness, featuring the legendary Pokémon Gold and Silver, both priced at a steal at £26.99. It also plugs the addictive Alone in the Dark, the new nightmare for £22.99, promising some spooky graphical adventures. Then there's a whole heap of Game Boy essentials, peripherals, and even some light sources and speakers, all at prices that will make your wallet sing. Plus, they're offering free delivery on day of release for pre-orders, and a £5 off voucher for online orders. Get clicking, gamers! This page is a massive advertisement for N64 and Game Boy Advance games and accessories. It features big savings on 64 titles like Conker's Bad Fur Day and Banjo-Kazooie, plus all the latest Game Boy Advance hardware and software, including the new Indigo and Glacier models. There's also a free second-class delivery offer for orders over £99 and a 99p first-class delivery for orders under that. This page is a full-page advert for the Pokémon Gold and Silver Master Guide. It promises to be the ultimate guide to beating the game, offering a complete solution, tips on catching them all, and maps. It's a collector's edition, costing £3.95 and is on sale now. This page is a full-page advert for the Awesome Collection, a compilation of Nintendo's greatest hits. It features the Nintendo official magazine logo and emphasizes that all the games are completely tested by our experts, and are games you must have. We can see what looks like cartridge artwork for Perfect Dark and other N64 titles, hinting at the quality of games included in this collection. It's a classic gamer's dream. This page dives into the awesome world of Nintendo 64, with reviews of Banjo-Tooie, Beetle Adventure Racing, Diddy Kong Racing, Banjo-Kazooie, Donald Duck Quack Attack, Conker's Bad Fur Day, and Donkey Kong 64. The reviewer clearly thinks highly of these titles, praising their gameplay and graphics. Banjo-Tooie is called a non-stop procession of crazy characters, while Diddy Kong Racing is noted for its superbly playable nature. The page also features a look at the official N64 controller and the 64T controller, with the official one being the best bang for your buck. This page continues our nostalgic journey through the Nintendo 64's greatest hits with a look at the Awesome Collection. We kick off with Duke Nukem's Zero Hour, a solid shooter that's apparently all about light relief and the cool hero attitude. Next up is ECW Hardcore Revolution, a wrestling game that's as brutal as it sounds and apparently quite violent, which is probably why it's loved. Then we dive into the world of speed with Excitebike 64, lauded for its fun gameplay and the brilliant track editor. Following that, F1 Racing Championship gets a nod for its great tuning and realistic feel, although the two-player mode is a bit of a split-screen nightmare. Over on the other side, FIFA 99 is hailed as the best football sim of its time, with masses of cups and tournaments to keep you busy. F1 World Grand Prix 2 offers a nippy multiplayer experience despite the lack of 4 players, and FEV0 X is a blindingly fast racer with tons of tracks to keep you on your toes. Finally, we get a rundown on some essential N64 accessories. The Manta Ray controller is a funky alternative, and the HyperPad Plus offers adjustable handles for a comfortable experience, though the buttons are a bit sticky. The G64 controller is a decent budget option, available in a few colors. This page showcases some of the Nintendo 64's finest, including the iconic GoldenEye 007, a true masterpiece that set the standard for first-person shooters. Lylat Wars, or Star Fox 64 as some might know it, gets a mention for its superb dogfighting action. IS 98 is celebrated as a top-tier football game, while Mario Golf offers a relaxing round with familiar faces. International Track and Field delivers thrilling event-based challenges, and Mario Party 2 promises hours of minigame madness. Jet Force Gemini is praised for its action-adventure elements. We also see the handy Rumble Pack and the rechargeable Jolt Pack, essential accessories for any serious N64 gamer. This page is a fantastic look at some of the best Nintendo 64 has to offer, with glowing reviews for several classics. Mario Kart 64 gets a well-deserved 90%, lauded for its enduring multiplayer appeal. NFL Quarterback Club 99 also scores a 90%, praised for its authentic American football action and excellent graphics. Operation Winback is reviewed, earning a 90% score, and described as a decent, albeit slightly flawed, stealth action game. Mickey's Speedway USA is given a very high 92%, with the reviewer highlighting its superb karting mechanics and familiar Disney characters. The iconic Perfect Dark receives a stellar 97%, with the reviewer calling it a worthy successor to GoldenEye and full of exciting missions. Mortal Kombat 4 is also in the spotlight, getting a 90% score for its brutal fighting action and multiplayer mayhem. Finally, Pokémon Puzzle League is reviewed, achieving a 90% rating for its addictive puzzle gameplay and challenging multiplayer. This page also gives a nod to the essential N64 accessories, the Gamester Memory Pack, and the Blaze Jolt Pack. This page is a great roundup of what the Nintendo 64 has to offer, with some truly cracking titles being played this month. Conker's Bad Fur Day is getting the praise it deserves, with its potty humor and impressive graphics being a real highlight. Turok Rage Wars is also on the menu, lauded as a fantastic multiplayer experience that'll have you hooked. Over on the right, Pokémon Stadium is a winner with its addictive monster battling, and Premier Manager 64 is the go-to for football management fans. Quake 2 is still as intense as ever, and Rayman 2 is a platforming gem. Plus, we've got to look at essential accessories, like the Nintendo Controller Pack and the Blaze 8 Meg Memory Pack, which are an absolute must for any serious N64 gamer. This page is a fantastic roundup of Nintendo 64 games, showcasing some real gems. We've got Resident Evil 2, lauded for its scares and puzzle solving, and Rogue Squadron praised for its authentic Star Wars action and cinematic feel. Then there's Ridge Racer 64, a solid arcade racer that still holds up, and Shadow Man, a spooky action-adventure with a gripping story. The page also highlights Rocket, a platformer that's apparently got great imagination and challenges, and the South Park games, which are described as fittingly crude and hilarious. For racing fans, South Park Rally is a kart racer that promises fun with friends. Finally, it rounds off with a look at memory cards, specifically the Logic 3 and Joytech 1 Meg options, essential for saving your progress on these brilliant N64 titles. This page dives into the awesome world of Nintendo 64 games with a killer lineup. We've got Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, a speedy pod racer that captures the thrill of the films. Then, Super Mario 64 gets a nod for revolutionizing platforming, a true classic. Tarzan swings onto the scene with its jungle adventure, and 1080 degrees snowboarding offers some cool, icy action. On the other side, Super Smash Bros. Is still a top-tier fighter, and Tony Hawk's skateboarding is the king of extreme sports. Turok Rage Wars brings the prehistoric action with its multiplayer mayhem. Plus, there's a look at some essential steering wheels for that extra immersion. This page showcases a trio of N64 racing peripherals, featuring the Shock 2, V3FX Racing Wheel, and Race 64 Compact. They're presented as essential for enhancing the driving experience, with the Shock 2 praised for its handling and affordability for the Formula 1 racer. The V3FX Racing Wheel is also highlighted as a top-tier option, offering impressive rumble feedback and precise controls. Lastly, the Race 64 Compact is noted for its gear-changing paddles, perfect for Gran Turismo enthusiasts. The page also delves into some classic N64 titles, with Turok 2, Seeds of Evil and Twine, both scoring high, with the former lauded for its action, and the latter for its stunning visuals and gameplay. WWF Attitude and WWF No Mercy are also reviewed, with both receiving praise for their wrestling action and multiplayer modes. Finally, the page introduces Joanna Dark from Perfect Dark, positioning her as the ultimate N64 heroine for pure toughness. This page dives into the must-have N64 titles, with The Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask taking center stage, lauded for its fun gameplay and puzzles, though it requires an expansion pack. Ocarina of Time is also celebrated as a timeless adventure, a true masterpiece of the genre that still holds up today. Under the Worth a Look banner, we've got a selection of bargain bin gems: South Park Chef's Love Shack, Command & Conquer, IS S2000, Micro Machine 64 Turbo, Pokemon Snap, World Driver Championship, Xena Warrior Princess, and Yoshi's Story. The sales chart shows Twine leading the pack, with Battle for Naboo and Scooby-Doo following closely, proving that sometimes the classics are indeed the best. This page is a full-page advert for the Pokémon Monster Guide. It promises the ultimate guide for Pokémon trainers and encourages readers to catch it while you can. The guide offers vital information on all 251 Pokémon, including breeding tips and essential facts, and is available for £3.75. It's the collector's edition number 7 and includes free Pokémon posters and puzzles. Essentially, it's the essential companion for any aspiring Pokémon master. This page dives headfirst into Banjo-Kazooie with a fantastic guide to some super cool cheat codes. Because, let's be honest, who doesn't love a good cheat? We're treated to some brilliant screenshots showing Banjo and Kazooie in action. One tip shows you how to get homing eggs perfect for those tricky enemies, and another reveals a rather groovy tune-accessing music box in the Jolly Rogers Lagoon. Plus, there's a cracking code for unlimited ammo to take down Gruntilda's minions. The page also teases more secrets for unlocking the gigantic worlds of Banjo-Tooie, reminding us just how massive this game truly is. It's a nostalgic trip back to when discovering cheats was half the fun. This page is a fantastic guide to some Nintendo 64 classics, starting with Conker's Bad Fur Day. It even offers some first-ever tips for this crude but hilarious game, implying you might need a mirror to keep up with Conker's antics. We also get a sneak peek at Star Wars, Episode 1 Battle for Naboo, with some essential codes to help you wipe out the Trade Federation. The page highlights how to access all the missions, including the secret stage, and offers a code Droideka for advanced shields. It also shows off some action-packed screenshots of the game. Finally, we're introduced to Mickey's Speedway, a racer that storms onto the N64 in true Mario Kart style, and the page teases a secret character unlock. It's a real treat for N64 fans. This page delves into some cracking tips for Nintendo 64 titles. First up, for Conker's Bad Fur Day, we've got the Unlock Later Levels tip, and a rather juicy password, Beelzebubsbum, to get you straight into the war level. There's also the Spannel Sears password for Mr. Death's level. Then, we're whisked away to Resident Evil 2 for a classic corner tip on how to deal with that pesky crocodile boss. Apparently, a well-aimed shot at a gas canister should do the trick. Following that, Perfect Dark gets a mention with skeleton skins for the Underground Uprising level, and exotic skins and 00 Agent for the Smart Scientist skins. For Majora's Mask, a Lens of Truth and Red Potion combo will make you invisible to those pesky Gerudo pirates. And finally, Star Wars, Episode in Battle for Naboo offers a souped-up ship code, Overload, for advanced ship statistics. There's also a nod to Scooby-Doo, with a level skip tip and button prompts. It's a solid page for getting the most out of your N64. This page features a rather flashy advert for The Mummy Returns on Game Boy Color. It highlights the game's release in May 2001 and showcases the main cast of the movie, looking suitably intense. The advert also includes a smaller section dedicated to the N64 game Lilat Wars, offering a strategy guide for defeating the Mantis Beast in the lava stage. It breaks down the fight into 4 clear steps, with helpful tips on dodging attacks and replenishing shields. Honestly, Lilat Wars still holds up, a proper blast from the past. This page is a vibrant advert for mobile phone ringtones and logos, a real throwback to the early days of mobile tech. It's a treasure trove of early 2000s pop culture, featuring ringtones from artists like Britney Spears, Eminem, and Nelly, alongside classic logos for bands like Gorillaz and Outkast. The tone of the week is Emma B, with What Took You So Long, and the logo of the week is Heartsays 191,206. Plus, there's a section showcasing picture display messaging with various SMS-friendly images. It's a fun reminder of how we used to personalize our phones before the days of unlimited data. The next page is a cracking cover for the Game Boy Advance, featuring the iconic Mario himself, looking rather pleased with the new console. It's promoting a special edition mini-mag, with the big GBA title dominating the top half. The text below teases, "The future starts here," with the chance to win a GB Advance by entering their competition. It's a fantastic, eye-catching advert that really gets you excited about Nintendo's latest portable offering. This page showcases a quartet of Nintendo handhelds against a vibrant green backdrop. In the top left we have the original Game Boy, its monochrome screen, and iconic cross-shaped D-pad proudly displayed. To its right, the Game Boy Color, in a fetching red, boasts its colorful branding. The bottom half features the Game Boy Pocket, a sleeker iteration, and the Game Boy Advance, the star of the show with its distinctive curved design and prominent Game Boy Advance text. It's a clear celebration of Nintendo's portable gaming legacy, setting the stage for the arrival of the GBA. This page heralds the arrival of the Game Boy Advance with a bold declaration. The future is here. We're given essential info, including a price of £79.99 and a release date of June 22nd. The GBA is lauded as a tiny 32-bit powerhouse, promising Super NES-level graphics in your palm, and the ability to play old Game Boy and Game Boy Color titles. It's all very exciting, and the included screenshot of Mario Kart Advance showing off its vibrant visuals only fuels the anticipation. It looks like it plays even better than the original Super NES version, which is quite a claim. We can't wait to get our hands on it. This page is all about the shiny new Game Boy Advance, and boy does it look like a winner. We're treated to a close-up of the handheld itself, alongside a rather fetching Game Boy Advance cartridge for All Japan Grand Touring Car Championship. The text highlights the Granger's snazzy new buttons, especially those shoulder buttons, which are apparently a godsend for tricky corners in games like Thief Zero, and for unleashing power-ups in Konami Crazy Racers. The page also gives us a sneak peek at some of the launch titles. We get a glimpse of Army Men Advance, which promises miniature war action with plastic soldiers and a showdown with a chap called Plastro. Then there's Iridian 3D, an ace blaster that apparently pushes the GBA to its limits with 6 wildly different levels and an epic soundtrack. Frankly, it all sounds rather brilliant, and the Game Boy Advance gallery section teases that there are hundreds more games on the way, so there's something for everyone. It's clear Nintendo is expecting great things from this little beauty. This page delves into the brand new Game Boy Advance, showcasing its design and some of its killer launch titles. We get a breakdown of the Gringba shape, which is a much more comfortable horizontal grip compared to its predecessors. The link-up port for multiplayer action is also highlighted, along with the impressive battery life, promising 15 to 20 hours of gaming from just 2 batteries, a significant improvement over the Game Boy Color. The screen itself is described as being nearly twice the size of the Game Boy Colors with higher resolution, offering better graphics and larger worlds. And that sound? The Gringba sound chip is light years ahead, even handling voice effects in the new Mario game, and supporting stereo and Dolby Surround if you've got the headphones. We're also treated to glimpses of some games. Rayman Advance, looking beautiful and playing like a dream. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, hailed as perhaps the best GBA game yet with incredible N64-like 3D effects. And Earthworm Jim, a colorful and hilarious return for the Wrigley hero that will have you going ape. It's clear the Game Boy Advance is set to be a massive hit, and the future looks incredibly bright. This page dives into the graphical prowess of the Game Boy Advance, highlighting how it truly slams out impressive visuals, making you forget you're playing on a portable. We're shown off F-Zero and Super Mario Advance, which apparently look even better than their older counterparts. The Gringba's ability to handle rotating effects and scaling sprites is lauded, giving a real sense of 3D depth, particularly in racing games. Transparency and reflections are also a big deal, with Konami Crazy Racers showcasing icy tracks and speeding races with some rather snazzy reflections. The magazine then tackles playing older Game Boy and Game Boy Color games on the Advance. It confirms that all your old favorites will work, though they'll be presented with rather chunky black borders, unless you stretch the image, which apparently looks a bit odd. We get a peek at Ready 2 Rumble Round 2, Super Mario Advance, F-Zero Maximum Velocity, and Fire Pro Wrestling, all looking suitably impressive on the new hardware. The reviewer seems quite taken with the Gringba's capabilities, and who can blame them? It's a significant leap forward. This page showcases some rather snazzy accessories for the Game Boy Advance, promising new innovations in portable gaming. We've got the mobile adapter, which sounds like a bit of a novelty for linking up to your mobile phone, though its practicality might be limited outside of Japan. Then there's the Game Link cable, essential for some good old-fashioned multiplayer action, and even the possibility of 4-player battles with the right setup. Nintendo's also offering an adapter set to ditch those batteries and plug straight into the mains. Plus they're planning a rechargeable battery pack for extended gaming sessions. Don't forget the card reader, which will let you swipe special cards to download all sorts of goodies into games, like Pokemon World, which sounds like a rather clever idea. And keep an eye out for an infrared adapter for some wireless communication between GBAs. Down at the bottom we get a glimpse of some upcoming titles. Top Gear GT Championship looks like a solid racer if you need a break from F-Zero. Konami Crazy Racers promises some wacky fun, and Castlevania offers a spooky, orchestral treat. Plus, there's Lego Bionicle, an action-adventure where you play a robot. All in all, it's a promising look at what's to come for the GBA. This page dives into the exciting GameCube connections for your Game Boy Advance. We're told the GBA is specially designed to talk to Nintendo's new console, and it sounds like a game changer. Imagine having your own private radar on the GBA, like in Perfect Dark, or using it as a second screen for horse racing games. Essentially, it's all about giving you a more immersive gaming experience, with hidden views and extra data. The page also features screenshots of some upcoming GBA titles. Game Boy Music, which lets you create and edit music. Game Boy Wars, a strategic war sim. Kururin, a fun navigation game. And Mario Kart Advance, promising 4-player racing chaos. It's clear Nintendo has big plans for connecting your GBA to the GameCube. This page is all about the Game Boy Advance and its cool colors, Arctic, Indigo, and Glacier. The main feature is a queue and a section, tackling some burning questions about the handheld. We're told why the screen isn't backlit, to save battery and keep costs down apparently, and that a Japanese GBA will play UK games, which is a relief. There's also a bit of speculation about whether the GBA might surf the internet with a mobile adapter. And for the Pokemon fans, yes, a new adventure is on the horizon for next year. with new Pokémon creations to boot. To round things off, we get a glimpse of 4 upcoming GBA titles: Golden Sun, ARPG with Zelda-like qualities; Napoleon, a strategy game that sounds a bit of a mystery; Golfmaster, a sports sim that promises great graphics; and the ever-classic Tetris Worlds. Looks like the GBA is set to be a real winner. This page delves into the exciting world of Game Boy Advance multiplayer gaming, highlighting how the new link cables are set to revolutionize how we play with our mates. It showcases that with just one cartridge you can link up to 4 players for some top-notch gaming action. The article specifically points to 4-0 maximum velocity as a prime example of this, explaining how it works with both one cartridge for everyone, or one each. We get a glimpse of 4 enthusiastic gamers enjoying the GBA, accompanied by screenshots of some of the games that will be making the most of this multiplayer potential. Street Fighter II and Final Fight are featured, promising classic fighting action, while Choo Choo Rocket offers some puzzle-solving fun, and Dark Arena brings the first-person shooter experience to the handheld. It's clear the GBA is aiming to be the ultimate portable party machine. This page showcases a group of friends thoroughly engrossed in some serious Game Boy Advance multiplayer action. It really hammers home the point that this handheld is the ultimate party machine, letting you and your mates battle it out on the go. We see glimpses of some fantastic titles that are perfect for a bit of competitive fun, including the highly anticipated 5-0, Maximum Velocity, along with the classic beat-em-ups Final Fight and Street Fighter II. Plus, there's the puzzler Choo Choo Rocket and the shooter Dark Arena, proving there's something for everyone. It looks like these guys are having an absolute blast, and honestly, who wouldn't be with this kind of portable gaming on offer? This page is a cracking competition to win one of 2 Game Boy Advances, complete with a launch title lineup. To enter, you'll need to send in the token from last month's issue, along with your entry to the usual address before June 1, 2001. The winners will be drawn on June 13th, and could be visited at home armed with goodies. Remember, photocopied tokens aren't accepted, and the editor's decision is final. Good luck, chaps! This page is a veritable smorgasbord of gaming delights. We've got ringtones and graphics for Nokia, Motorola, and Sagem, alongside a massive list of cheats and tips for all sorts of games. Plus, there's a brilliant Pokémon Master Guide, and you can snag yourself loads of Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, and Gundam Wing goodies. Don't forget to check out the GameCube and Game Boy Advance sections for even more must-have titles. It's all here, from fighting games to racing, so you can truly master your gaming world. This page is your ultimate guide to conquering Nintendo 64 with some fantastic tips and tricks. We dive into Banjo-Kazooie, where Anthony Paul from Hull shares some top codes to unlock secrets in the code chamber. Then, we journey to Hyrule in The Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask with Stephen Thurm of Altrincham showing us how to get rich quick with a clever inventory trick. Over in the wrestling world, David Nevitt from Runcorn reveals an amazing new belt in WWF No Mercy. It's packed with useful info to elevate your gaming experience. This page is your go-to for conquering Nintendo 64, packed with tips and tricks. We've got solutions for Majora's Mask, including how to defeat GYORG, and advice for Pokémon Snap on capturing that elusive Mew. Plus, get the lowdown on Banjo-Kazooie, with a tip to defeat the pesky Terry. New ways to play showcases winning entries for Twine, Take 'em Out, and WWF No Mercy. Get ready to elevate your game. This page is all about the UK's top players, showcasing the best in 64 games and your chance to win ace prizes. We kick off with this month's tough challenges, Banjo-Kazooie's Mayhem Kickball Final, where the goal is to score the most, and a hint to avoid scoring with the wrong coloured balls. Next up is Pokemon Puzzle League, challenging you to get the highest score in 5 minutes in marathon mode, needing cool head and lightning reflexes. It's a battle of brain chains. Then we move on to the month's results in full. In Perfect Dark, Robert Royal from Manchester has set the fastest time for the Datadyne investigation with 3:08 secs, proving he's truly top banana. He's followed by David Slater from Bristol at 3:12 secs, James Woodford from Stoke at 3:13 secs, Fraser Rees from Aberdeen at 3:28 secs, and Oliver Cole from London at 3:31 secs. Over in international track and field, Sami Ayew from Essex is also top banana with an impressive 105.92 in the javelin event, narrowly beating Nadine Jackson from Romford who scored 105.91. Other notable performances include Francis Boatman from F. Norton and Matthew Collins from Hayes, both with 105.84, and Tom Alott from Hornsey with 105.67. Do you think you can do better? Well, how about proving it by winning an official Nintendo 64 controller? This page is a mega challenge. It features Donkey Kong in a rather menacing pose, warning us about cheaters in the tough Nintendo challenges. The main event is the Mega Challenge for Perfect Dark, which has been extended due to popular demand. Players have to conquer the crash site confrontation level, and the top scorers will compete in a multiplayer arena. Remember to practice, be accurate, and include your phone number with your entry to be contacted if you win. The closing date for entries is Friday, June 1, 2001, with the final taking place on Saturday, June 16, 2001. And if you're wondering about prizes, you could win a fantastic official Nintendo 64 controller pad, or Super. This page is a Pokemon Gold and Silver guide, focusing on hereditary moves and breeding, offering tips to become a breeding champion. It details how to pass moves down to offspring, featuring sections on Abra, Ipom, and Aerodactyl, along with breeding advice for Bellsprout and Bulbasaur. The guide also highlights key issues of PokéPast for further reading, and provides a memorable quote about the Pokemon sequels being the finest Game Boy titles ever made. This page is a Pokemon breeding guide, showing you how to teach moves like Heal Bell, Rock Slide, and Ancient Power to your Pokemon through careful breeding. It highlights how to get specific moves like Safeguard, Counter, and Vine Whip for Pokemon like Chansey, Corsola, and Chikorita, among others. It's a real gem for anyone looking to become a true Pokemon breeding master, or at least knows how to get a decent moveset on their favorite pocket monsters. This page is a fantastic guide to breeding Pokemon in Gold and Silver, focusing on how to teach some rather handy moves through breeding. We've got Delibird learning Aurora Beam and Future Sight, Dratini mastering Light Screen and Supersonic, and even Dunsparce getting in on the action with Bide, Ancient Power, and Rock Slide. Diglett can learn Ancient Power and Beat Up, while Drowsy is your go-to for Barrier and Light Screen. For Eevee, Charm and Flail are on the menu, and Ekans can pick up Beat Up, Pursuit, Slam, and Spite. Finally, Doduo can learn Feint Attack, Flail, Haze, and Quick Attack. It's a real deep dive into getting those perfect movesets. This page is a brilliant guide to Pokemon breeding in Gold and Silver, showing you how to pass down some cracking moves. We've got EX Execute, Geodude, Gligar, Farfetch'd, Goldeen, Ghastly, Grimer, and Growlithe, with tips on how to teach them moves like Ancient Power, Mega Punch, Counter, Amnesia, Haze, Gust, and Body Slam. Heracross also gets a mention for Bide and Harden. It's all about getting those perfect Pokemon with the moves you want, and this guide really lays it out for you. This page is a fantastic guide to breeding Pokemon in Gold and Silver, focusing on how to pass down some truly useful moves. We see Hoot Hoot, Hoppip, Horsea, and Igglybuff, with Houndour and Kabuto also featured. The page explains how to breed specific moves like Feint Attack, Supersonic, Wing Attack, Amnesia, Confuse, Payday, Aurora Beam, Dragon Rage, and Flash. It's a must-read for anyone looking to get the most out of their Pokemon breeding. This page is a breeding guide for Pokemon Gold and Silver, featuring Kangaskhan, Lapras, Koffing, Krabby, and Larvitar. It details how to breed specific moves like Disable, Focus Energy, Foresight, Stomp, Safeguard, Destiny Bond, Pain Split, Psybeam, Aurora Beam, Ancient Power, and Outrage. There's also a sneak peek at what's coming next month, promising even more hereditary moves, so you'll want to stay tuned. It's a brilliant bit of advice for any serious trainer looking to perfect their Pokemon. This page is a comprehensive battle guide for Star Wars Episode 1, The Battle for Naboo, focusing on Part 2 and taking us through to the final confrontation. We delve into Borvo's base, detailing a sequence of attacks against offensive strikes to finish before meeting Borvo, involving destroying turrets and transports. Then, we move on to finding Captain KL, where the guide walks you through locating the downed fighter using your radar and engaging with Borvo's dastardly plan. It's a solid chunk of walkthrough content for those struggling to make progress, with handy screenshots to illustrate each step. This page offers a detailed walkthrough for Star Wars Episode 1, The Battle for Naboo, specifically focusing on key mission objectives. We get tips on how to take down Borvo the Hutt with a sequence of screenshots for his boss fight, offering two distinct strategies. Following this, the guide moves on to A New Buddy, showing you how to team up with Cole Kassa and proceed through valley challenges and missile launcher destruction. Finally, it covers Liberation of Camp 4, with a strategy to sneak into the enemy compound and deal with the Trade Federation. It's a helpful breakdown of how to progress through these tricky missions, complete with plenty of visual cues to help you on your way. This page delves into more of the excellent Star Wars Episode 1, The Battle for Naboo, with a focus on two rather important missions, Finding Camp 4 and Get Out of There. For Finding Camp 4, it's all about infiltration and destruction, with tips on taking out turrets, trading in your Wen-1 starfighter for a heavy stab, and dealing with those pesky giant turrets. Then, it's time to bust them out, where you'll need to rescue your buddies from the Trade Federation. You'll be blowing up buildings with red doors, and taking aim at stockpiles of barrels to create an escape route. The Get Out of There section is a bit more action-packed, with advice on navigating the treacherous terrain and getting your vehicle out of a tight spot. It's a tough part of the level, so hold on tight. Finally, we have The Queen's Gambit and Panaka's Plan. This section introduces you to some familiar faces from the movie, Captain Panaka and Queen Amidala, and outlines Panaka's strategy for dealing with the palace guards. It's a good job you've got him on your side. You'll need to follow his orders closely to succeed. The mission involves taking out enemies and helping Panaka, so get ready to blast away. The final image shows you aiming your homing nukes, which is always satisfying. This page offers a brilliant guide to Star Wars Episode 1, The Battle for Naboo, focusing on two crucial missions. First up is Getting a Bomber, where you'll be tasked with piloting a bomber to pick up your allies. The guide highlights the importance of handling this lumbering beast with care, especially when facing enemy fire. Next, we dive into Defending the Bridge, a mission that sounds rather intense, requiring you to fend off droid starfighters and keep an eye on Panaka's explosive dealings. The Valley Battle section then shifts focus, advising you to cause some serious trouble for the Trade Federation with your bomber. It's a reminder that you're not controlling a fighter, so rough handling is expected. Finally, Panaka's diversion and return to the Yoyid wrap things up, detailing the endgame where you'll be listening to Amidala's plans and making a triumphant return to the Yoyid. It seems you'll be blasting droids, helping out Cole, and taking on an AAT in this final push. Excellent advice for any budding Gungan or Naboo pilot. This page is packed with essential tips for Star Wars Episode 1, The Battle for Naboo. We kick off with Palmer's Problems, guiding you through saving the damsel by blasting through barriers and taking out sneaky ATATs on a bridge, and then dealing with more ATATs and destroyers in an alley. Next, the Diversion tasks you with a plaza cleanup, letting your commando buddies handle door demolition, and following a passage to meet Panaka and destroy every last laser-wielding foe. The large screenshot shows you taking the fight to the Trade Federation in a grand aerial battle. Then, it's time for Court Showdown, where you'll need to be careful of heavy droids in corners and follow your allies to take out tanks, before a final showdown at the courthouse against ATATs and destroyers. The penultimate guide, The Swarm, prepares you for the epic space battle against the droid control ship, with tips on formation, targeting and breaking up enemy formations. It's a solid guide to navigating some of the game's trickier moments, really making you feel like you're right there in the action. This page dives into some crucial gameplay strategies for Star Wars Episode 1, The Battle for Naboo, specifically focusing on the latter stages of the game. Under the final battle, we get a visual walkthrough for taking down the control ship, including destroying tractor beam generators and a final assault on the ship itself. Then, under Say Goodbye, it shows how to tackle the ship's shield generator and ultimately destroy the vessel, declaring Naboo safe. The Trade Federation Secrets section then shifts focus to unlocking a secret level by earning bronze medals, pitting players against a Trade Federation army. The Cover Me mission is detailed, showing how to save your Jedi buddies by taking out enemy platoons and starfighters. Finally, the page covers dealing with incoming STAPs and a cruiser in the final stretch. It's a handy guide for mastering those challenging final missions. This page is all about giving you the edge in Star Wars Episode 1, The Battle for Naboo. First up, we've got the Coruscant encounter, and a look at the Duel of the Fates, where you'll take on Darth Maul himself. The screenshots show you how to track him down and give him a taste of your own medicine, with helpful tips on his movements and how to stay on his tail. Then, there's the Hidden Bonuses section, focusing on advanced shields, which will give your ship a much-needed boost. We see how to find these in the Escape from the Centipede level, with one screenshot showing the shield pickup and another hinting at more to discover. Finally, under At Last We Will Have Revenge, we get to the really exciting stuff, battling Darth Maul. The images guide you through the intense fight, with advice on dodging his attacks and staying alive. It also looks like there's a bonus to be had in the Smuggler Alliance stage, with advanced missiles that will make your firepower even more devastating. Looks like they're trying to make sure you don't get completely overwhelmed by the Sith Lord. This page is packed with essential tips and tricks for Star Wars Episode 1, The Battle for Naboo. We're shown how to unlock advanced bombs, by heading to the glacial grave, and there are clear screenshots guiding you. Then, it's on to homing torpedoes on the Hovet level, with advice on finding them amidst some trees. Next, we learn how to grab advanced blasters in the Liberation of Camp 4 level, with 2 images showing the path to power. For those seeking speed, rapid fire blasters are available on the Sanctuary level, with tips for navigating the ruins. Finally, the homing cluster torpedoes offer the ultimate weapon, with instructions to find them within Coruscant's architecture. The page concludes with a triumphant, "It's over," and an invitation for more tips, reminding us of the fun to be had. It's a brilliant guide for any pilot wanting to dominate the skies of Naboo. This page is all about the reader's thoughts, and it kicks off with a welcome from Dave and Rich, our resident gurus. They're posing with some retro gaming gear, looking very pleased with themselves. We've got letters galore, with opinions on everything from old games to the potential of Sega making games for Nintendo. A bold prediction indeed. There's even a bit of chat about the Dream Tents, whatever those might be. Then there's the Bowser's Prison segment, posing the hypothetical question of which 3 N64 games you'd take into captivity. David Farry from Chester answers with Super Mario 64, Rainbow Six, and South Park, citing the fun and replayability. It seems everyone's got their own ideas about what makes a good prison companion. Finally, we have Mario's Winner, where Andrew Shire from Cheam weighs in on the Game Boy Color and its future, suggesting companies are still focusing on it despite the Griber's arrival. It's a lively mix of opinions and insights, as always. This page is a fantastic reader's corner, packed with opinions and insights from the gaming community. We've got a brilliant segment where readers share their thoughts on everything from the GBA and GameCube link cable to the potential of games based on films like GoldenEye. There's a really passionate discussion about the quality of games, and even a plea for more multiplayer Zelda. Plus, we dive into gold and silver all over Europe, showcasing the incredible excitement and queues across the continent as Pokémon Gold and Silver finally launched. It's clear the Pokémania was in full swing, with fans eagerly snapping up the latest entries. There's also a Mario's hit list, featuring reader-submitted questions about favorite games and what they're looking forward to. It's a true celebration of what makes these games so special to us gamers. This page features a lively Club Mario section, showcasing reader feedback with some truly passionate opinions on games like Pokémon Gold and Silver and GoldenEye. There's also a Game or Lame segment with a cool screenshot of a racing game, likely Diddy Kong Racing or a similar title, where readers can submit their own game ideas. The review section is packed with reader comments, with some folks really championing the Sega Mega Drive and others waxing lyrical about the charms of Pokémon's Wooper. It's a real snapshot of what gamers were loving back in the day, with plenty of strong opinions flying around. This page is a collection of reader emails, offering a fantastic glimpse into the minds of gamers back in the day. We've got everything from saving up for a Game Boy Advance to the eternal debate between Nintendo and Sega. One chap is lamenting the lack of a proper Tony Hawk's Pro Skater on 64, a sentiment I'm sure many can relate to. There's also a rather amusing point about games having inappropriate trailers, which is still a hot topic today. The Blagfest Answers section rounds things off with some witty retorts to reader questions, all in good Nintendo spirit. This page is dedicated to the Pokémon movie, offering readers a chance to win DVDs and exclusive footage. It poses a trivia question about the new professor in Pokémon Gold and Silver, with options A, Elm, B, Ash, and C, Horse Chestnut. Elsewhere on the page, we're treated to a snippet about Harvest Moon 2, and a competition to win a Game Boy Color copy of the game, along with a t-shirt. The question here is about a famous nursery rhyme farmer, with choices A, Old Farmer Giles, B, Old MacDonald, and C, Old Misery Guts. It looks like a fun little page with chances to snag some Nintendo goodies. This page is all about winning some fantastic Pokémon and Scooby-Doo goodies. First up, we've got a chance to win copies of Pokémon the Movie 2000. To enter, you need to answer the question, which Scared Cat character is Scooby's sidekick? With the options being Naggy, Maggie, or Shaggy. Then we move on to some gaming on the go, where you can win some Ace Game Boy Color accessories, including a link cable, a light magnifier, and a spotlight. The trivia question here is, can you name the secret Pokémon in Gold and Silver? With options A, Celebi, B, Lugia, and C, Mew. Finally, the How to Win section clearly lays out the simple steps for entering these competitions. Write your answer on a postcard with your details, mark it with the compo name and address, lick a stamp, stick it on, and post it. It's a straightforward way to get your hands on some awesome prizes. This page is absolutely bursting with Nintendo goodness, focusing heavily on the Game Boy Advance with a massive Super Mario Advance feature. We get a rundown of the game's key features: classic platforming, frantic multiplayer fun, and top-notch graphics. It highlights Super Mario Bros. 2 as the single-player mode, boasting 7 sprawling worlds and 20 levels, where you play as Mario, Princess Peach, Luigi, and Toad, all with unique abilities. Apparently, you can even take on Yoshi's challenge to find 40 eggs. The page also teases other Game Boy Advance titles, like Army Men Advance, GT Advance, Championship Racing, and Konami Crazy Racers. It's a fantastic look at what the GBA had to offer, with some brilliant screenshots to boot. This page dives headfirst into Super Mario Advance, showcasing the classic charm of the original Super Mario Bros. 2. We see Mario scaling a vast staircase, hinting at the expansive levels within. The article praises the game's second offering, Mario Bros., for its multiplayer capabilities, allowing up to 4 players to compete for coins. It highlights how the game is a perfect cure for boredom, offering fast-paced, slick gameplay. The screenshots show off the game's visuals, with one depicting a boss battle where players must throw eggs back at the enemy. Truly a tricky business. Another shot highlights the 4-player battle mode, promising blinding fun. The reviewer seems thoroughly impressed, remarking on the surprisingly good graphics for a handheld machine and the enduring appeal of Mario Bros. The page also includes a glowing "We Think" section, calling Super Mario Advance a real treat for fans, especially those who remember the Super NES titles, and celebrating its solid gameplay and originality. This page features a double helping of Zero goodness, with F-Zero maximum velocity for Game Boy Advance. The reviewer is clearly blown away by the speed, calling it eye-popping, and stating it's so fast it should come with a health warning. The graphics are described as futuristic, and the gameplay, well, they reckon it's incredible. It sounds like a faithful update to the N64 and Super NES versions, with new racing groups and even tougher tracks to master. Plus, the multiplayer mode sounds like a blast, offering some serious competition. We also get a look at Kuru Kuru Kurin, another Game Boy Advance title that sounds delightfully quirky. The premise is simple: guide a spinning stick through increasingly challenging courses. It's a puzzle game that promises to be addictive, with the reviewer warning that timing and a bit of luck are key to success. Sounds like a real test of your dexterity. This page is all about Mario Kart Advance for the Game Boy Advance, a port of the Super NES classic. The reviewer is absolutely gushing about it, calling it a must-have for racing fans and praising its insane speed, crisp graphics, and spot-on controls. It sounds like a faithful rendition of the SNES original, packed with all your favorite Nintendo characters and plenty of new tracks to master. They're particularly excited about the multiplayer, which promises some serious competitive fun. There's also a mention of the GB Advance update, implying this is a new release or update for the handheld. This page gives us a look at 2 rather different, yet exciting, Game Boy Advance titles. First up is GT Advance Championship Racing, which the reviewer seems to think is the closest thing GBA owners will get to Gran Turismo. They're raving about the realistic handling, and the sheer number of cars available, with over 40 to choose from. Apparently you can tinker with your motor too, which is always a nice touch, and there are a whopping 32 tracks to conquer. It sounds like a real patrolhead's dream for the handheld, and the reviewer even suggests it's one of the tougher racers out there, so prepare for a challenge. Then we switch gears entirely for Lego Bionicle. This looks like a top-down adventure based on the popular toy line. You play as a young Tahunga, on a quest to find 6 mystical stones to restore peace to Matanui, facing off against the mysterious robot-like Tahunga. The reviewer highlights the customization options for your characters, and the inclusion of 6-player multiplayer modes, which sounds like it could lead to some serious Lego-based mayhem. It's a big departure from the racing action, but both games seem to offer a decent chunk of gameplay for the GBA. This page dives headfirst into the incredible Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 for Game Boy Advance. The reviewer is absolutely buzzing, calling it astonishingly good, and a real standout title that's bound to be a massive hit. They're particularly impressed with the graphics, claiming the skater animations are pure eye candy that push the GBA to its limits. The gameplay is described as intensely playable with loads of tricks to master, and the inclusion of 6,000 animations and 12 playable characters, including Mr. Hawk himself, means there's a ton of replayability. Plus, with 42 arenas and secret areas, it feels like a brand new game. It sounds like a must-have for any skater fan. We also get a glimpse of Pinobi, a charming side-scrolling adventure. You play as a robotic bee on a quest to save its inventor. The reviewer highlights the gorgeous hand-painted backgrounds and detailed characters, making the action-adventure a pretty-as-a-picture experience. It seems like a more relaxed, but equally engaging, offering for the GBA. This page is all about Konami Crazy Racers for the Game Boy Advance, and it looks like a real blast. Konami's bringing some super colorful tracks and cool characters to the racing scene, and it's shaping up to be a worthy competitor to Mario Kart. We're seeing familiar faces from Konami's gaming universe, like characters from Castlevania and Mystical Ninja, which is a nice touch for fans. The screenshots show off some vibrant tracks, from outer space to snowy mountains, and the game boasts 16 tracks in total, with player versus player action and multiple game modes like Grand Prix and Time Attack. It sounds like a riotous good time, and they're certainly hyping it up as something we can't wait for. This page is all about the upcoming Castlevania Circle of the Moon for the Game Boy Advance, and it's promising to be a proper spooky adventure. We get a glimpse of those classic Castlevania vibes with creepy corridors and some rather menacing monsters, including what looks like a beastly bull-like creature and a rather imposing demon. The gameplay seems to be your standard, side-scrolling action-adventure fare, focusing on exploration and, of course, defeating Dracula. It sounds like a real treat for fans of the series, offering that familiar, gothic atmosphere that we've all come to love. The game's set to feature 2 playable characters, Nathan Graves and Hugh Baldwin, which should offer a bit of variety. All in all, it looks like a solid addition to the GBA library, and it certainly sounds like it'll be a dark and challenging experience. This page features 2 exciting upcoming Game Boy Advance titles. First up is Iridian 3D, a space shooter that promises intense blasting action and incredible enemies. The reviewer is impressed with the game's ability to deliver a 3D appearance on the GBA, despite its limitations, and praises the fast-paced gameplay and detailed levels. They even go so far as to say, "Star Wars, eat your heart out." The second game highlighted is Pitfall: The Mayan Adventure, a remake of a classic side-scrolling platformer. The review notes its lineage from the Super NES classic, and describes the gameplay as fluid and playable. It's all about swinging through the jungle and finding treasure, much like the original Tarzan-esque adventures we know and love. This page showcases 3 Game Boy Advance titles that are definitely worth keeping an eye on. First we have Earthworm Jim, which looks to be a faithful arcade-style adventure, bringing Jim's unique brand of quirky humor to our pockets. The screenshots suggest the environments are indeed wickedly detailed, and I'm particularly interested to see if it captures that classic Earthworm Jim magic. Next up is Army Men, a portable entry in the popular Plastic Soldier series. It seems we'll be playing as either Sarge or Vicky, battling across 17 levels in both human and plastic worlds. War games, eh? It certainly brings back childhood memories, and this looks like it could be a fun little romp. Finally, Ready to Rumble Round 2 is making its way to the GBA, and it promises all the wacky boxing action we've come to expect. It's great to hear that all the N64 characters are included, and the Rumble Flurry move sounds as devastating as ever. The crowd animations and boxers themselves look pretty impressive for the GBA. The page also gives us a glimpse of GT Championship, which appears to be a serious racing contender. With 22 cars, 6 Japanese circuits including the famous Suzuka F1 circuit, and deep customization options like steering, gears and aerodynamics, this looks like it could be a surprisingly in-depth racer. The graphics are praised as some of the sharpest seen on the GBA, and the mention of weather conditions affecting handling adds a nice touch of realism. This page is a fantastic preview of what's to come for the Game Boy Advance. Nintendo Official Magazine proudly declares, "We're the biggest, best, first, most games, official," and they're hyping up the upcoming next month issue. They're making 6 big promises, including getting the first look at every Nintendo 64 and Game Boy game and product, loads of screenshots, easy-to-understand guides, working tips and tricks, trustworthy writers, and that you'll never need another magazine. The main focus is the Game Boy Advance, with the headline Game Boy Advance, be the first to read about the latest Game Boy Advance releases from around the world. We get a great shot of the handheld itself, showing a game that looks like a colorful platformer, with some rather daft-looking characters. It's all very exciting, and builds anticipation for future issues, especially with that "Go buy it the 8th of June, tag a clear call to action. And yes, there's a peek at poker, which, judging by the size of that text, is going to be huge. Plus, we're promised game guides and best cheats, so it sounds like our GBA adventures are covered. This page is a cracking preview of Pokémon Stadium 2, promising first play of English version, the best Pokémon, Titanic battles, and wacky minigames. we're treated to a glimpse of the iconic Bulbasaur and a sun-like Pokémon, alongside a Game Boy Color displaying what looks like a water-based level. The tips section offers advice for Pokémon Gold and Silver breeding, and a peek at Banjo-Kazooie's adventure. It's all about getting the most out of your Pokémon games, and the inclusion of Game Boy Color news means they're covering all bases for the handheld audience. This page is a treasure trove of Pokémon knowledge, directly answering the puzzles from the Nintendo official magazine Pokémon Master and Master Guides. We've got solutions for finding Mews, identifying those big piles of chuzz, and mastering the Pokémon Mastermind challenges across several rounds. From Find the Mew, to Pokédex Puzzler, and Hidden Heroes, it's all here, including the answers to the Pokédex crossword, and even the Ultimate Warriors. Plus, we get answers for Shady Character, and Who's the Winner, to wrap up the puzzle section. It's the ultimate guide for anyone wanting to conquer those tricky Pokémon quizzes. This page is a massive advert for ukgames.com, showcasing a huge range of Nintendo 64 and Game Boy Advance titles. There are also some enticing free offers for joining their special reserve club, including free games like Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey and free rechargeable battery packs. Plus, you can win a game every single day at gameday.co.uk, and there's a fantastic offer for £10 million in prizes to be won. This page is a cracking full-page advert for Pokémon the Movie 2000, promising a special edition Pikachu game card with every video and DVD purchase. It also teases a sneak preview of Pokémon 3. Get yours on video and DVD from May 14th, available at electronics boutiques. What a way to get us all excited!